Hey guys, welcome to the Bows. So today I wanted to talk about Tom Aspinall and where it goes from here after coming off a major win, a submission win over Alexander Volkov at UFC London. Tom Aspinall may be the most complete UFC heavyweight talent in a very long time, and maybe ever. That's the potential this guy has, I think. Maybe even more than Ciryl Gane, because we see his ground game and how good his wrestling and jiu-jitsu game is. So how does Tom Aspinall fare with the rest of the division? He called out Bam Bam, Tai Tuivasa, and that's a great fight for him, and I definitely favor him in that fight. But assuming he does shoot up to 6 and doesn't go any higher, how would he do against everybody ranked above him? Derek Lewis at number 5. I think this is a no-brainer. The ground game difference would be a complete game changer. And even on the feet, Tom Aspinall is going to be so much quicker and more elusive on the feet. And he may just get Derek tired pretty quickly trying to swing at him. And I could picture Aspinall dipping under a big punch from Lewis, taking him down and submitting him fairly quickly. Number 4 is Curtis Blades. Actually a really intriguing matchup because Curtis Blades does have the wrestling pedigree to maybe stop a lot of takedowns from Tom Aspinall. And on the feet, it would be a good fight. Curtis is a good athlete and moves well and stuff like that. But a lot of the times, Curtis is quite predictable, and I think Tom Aspinall's a lot more polished on the feet as well and has faster hands. So if that fight would stand the feet, and I think it would, then I think that fight would go to Tom Aspinall, either a TKO at some point or even a decision win for the first time in Tom Aspinall's career. I think that could be a more competitive fight than many people may think. And that number 3 of Tai Tuivasa, this is a tailor-made matchup for Tom Aspinall, in my opinion. Tai Tuivasa got taken down by Derek Lewis. So Tom Aspinall could definitely do that, and I think he would take him down early and submit him quite early or ground and pound. So this is the tailor-made matchup, in my opinion, for Tom Aspinall, and it's a really good call-out. So if they book that fight, I definitely would heavily favor Tom Aspinall. At number 2, Stipe Miocic. This was a more interesting matchup because Stipe Miocic is so experienced and has so much octagon time in there and has been in there with the best, with the people who hit the hardest, who have the best abilities in other areas of mixed martial arts. So he'd be a really huge test for Tom Aspinall. You would think Tom Aspinall would be quicker and have faster hand speed, but Miocic has great boxing, great wrestling, so it would be a really interesting matchup. I don't know who would win that fight at this point. I think I have to see more from Tom Aspinall. I think we all do. But he's been starching dudes or submitting dudes and getting guys out of there really quickly. So no one's really seen any holes in his game. Not yet, at least. And then at number 1 is Ciryl Gane. And unfortunately, I could see a scenario where this is a tough matchup for Ciryl Gane. If Tom Aspinall could take down Ciryl Gane, it could be trouble for Ciryl Gane real quick. On the feet, I'd still favor Ciryl Gane. His movement's too good, his footwork, his athleticism. Tom Aspinall's a great athlete too, but I think Ciryl Gane's a better athlete. But Tom Aspinall, would definitely be the more well-rounded fighter. That's a great fight. I don't know who I'd necessarily pick. I think I'm slightly favoring Tom Aspinall in that matchup at this point of their careers. But that'd be a great matchup if that fight ever came to be. I think it has to come to be at some point because these two guys, Ciryl Gane and Tom Aspinall, are most likely the future of the heavyweight division. And then you got the champion, Francis Ngannou. So Francis Ngannou versus Tom Aspinall, that's real interesting. I don't know. It's hard to bet against Francis Ngannou against anybody not named Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane came pretty damn close, in my opinion. Arguably even won the 5th round and then would have won the fight. The thing is, Ngannou's so big and harder to take down than a lot of people would anticipate because he's so big and so strong. And he hits like a truck, obviously. It's harder than anybody in the history of the sport. Most likely, probably without a doubt, yeah. So it would be hard for Tom Aspinall to avoid getting hit the entire fight. I'm sure Tom's got a good chin, but it doesn't matter when you're fighting Ngannou. And again, we have to see more from Tom Aspinall to see what he can do. In a weird way, I think it's going to work like this. I think Tom Aspinall, just on paper from what we've seen so far, which isn't a lot from Tom Aspinall because he's been destroying dudes, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Aspinall can beat Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane can get a rematch with Ngannou at some point and beat Ngannou, and Ngannou beats Tom Aspinall. I wouldn't be surprised if it works out that way. Because I still think Ciryl Gane is the toughest matchup there is for Francis Ngannou because of how elusive he is on the feet, and I think he's the only guy who can avoid getting hit by Ngannou the entire fight. But regardless, Tom Aspinall is as legit of a heavyweight contender as you can get. The guy is super well-rounded. He's coming off a huge win off of a very experienced and durable heavyweight who's got like 45 pro fights. So it was a fantastic win. He's as legit as it comes, and I'm excited to see what he does next. All right, guys, that's all I got today. Leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what you thought about Tom Aspinall's performance and how you think he fares with the rest of the division, especially the guys at the upper echelon of the division. All right, till next time, peace.